And welcome one and all into episode number 4 of the Words Mean Things podcast. This week we will be talking about the word of the week at Great Bend High School. This week's word, hospitality. That's right.
I'm Steven.
Hospitality. I'm Mr. Heath, and we are bringing you a weekly podcast where we do a shallow dive into the meaning of the word of the week.
Which this week, again, hospitality.
That's right. Hospitaliano.
Yeah.
When you're here, your family.
Which is a really odd concept. Like, never seen this person in my life. They're family now. That man, he just walked in my front door, barged in like he owned the place. That's my brother right there.
That's right. And hospitality, maybe another one of those things that is going the way of the dodo.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, with the fear of the unknown and the stranger danger and all of that, maybe our fear of being taken advantage of or mistreated causes us to not practice the hospitality.
It comes back to that whole everything in moderation, even moderation thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't want to just extend all of your naivete to some random stranger off the street.
Right.
But you don't want to be rude.
True. You don't. You know, just because it sounds a little shady that the Nairobi prince wants you to send him $100,000.
You shouldn't knock it till you try it.
Right. You never know.
Disclaimer, yeah, don't.
The whole thing about hospitality makes me think of is xenia, which is an ancient Greek concept. You can find it in the Homer writings, like the Odyssey and the Iliad. Yeah. The Greeks believed in this thing called xenia, which was a religious obligation to treat others with hospitality. If a stranger came into your land, you took them in and you gave them the best you had, because then when you were traveling, that would be extended to you. And there's lots of stories of ancient Greeks not fulfilling their obligation of xenia, and then bad things happened.
Yeah.
So the juju comes back to get you.
It's the opposite way nowadays because there's so many stories about people running off to check on a screaming woman in the street and getting picked up for human trafficking operations.
It does seem often that we have that. And, you know, and this is true. Like you come upon somebody who is in cardiac arrest and you've had CPR training and you begin to administer CPR,
bag over your head.
And they recover, and boom, you think, oh wow, they'll thank me for it. And no, you get served a summons for a lawsuit because you broke 2 of their ribs. And so we have this fear too. But there are many states that now have Good Samaritan laws.
Yeah.
That if you are acting in good faith and you're doing your best to try to help someone, then you cannot face civil litigation over it. But
obviously, laws like that shouldn't be taken to the extreme where you were trying to save like a bus full of orphans and accidentally drove into the river while you were trying to pop a Yui.
True. Well, and you know, honestly, of the many times I've tried to save a busload of orphans, only a couple of times did we end up in the river.
Right. Only a couple.
Right.
It's fairly uncommon.
Uncommon thing to have happen. But what were we talking about? Oh yes, hospitality.
Yep. There's Southern hospitality.
Yes, there is.
Which is an entire thing in and of itself. Someone from the South, Arkansas, which is a wacky state, we have this thing where, like, especially in the more rural parts of the state, you could just go up to someone's porch, knock, ask for some tea, they'll give it to you, then they'll slap your knees, get up from their old rocking chair and say, well, I should head out, and that's the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Didn't even ask for that person's name the entire time.
Southern hospitality. Now, the root, of hospitality is where we also get hospital.
Yeah, hospice.
Yeah, and so the treating of people.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, is just making your town marketable to tourists a form of hospitality?
Ooh, that's interesting because we do have the hospitality industry, which would include hotels, motels, restaurants, pickleball facilities, axe throwing.
Is that us, like, turning hospitality into a product of capitalism?
I think that is exactly what that is. I think we figured out, I think that people will pay money for hospitality. You know, if you can be treated somewhat good, then you will pay money for that.
Which is kind of crazy because that goes like against the core concept of hospitality.
Right, which is you do it just because you do.
Yeah.
And so it another situation where, you know, you add a profit motive into it, and suddenly, and you know, and then hospitality at restaurants is now becoming a thing of the past. There's many restaurants where you used to go in and you would be treated with hospitality, and that was the expectation. Now there are restaurants where they treat you like you're lucky that they're even there, and you know, you owe them. Instead of the other way around. So hospitality is an evolving term. I hope it doesn't completely go away. I like the idea of just being nice to people because you ought to be nice to people.
But there's a reason for why it's gone down in popularity. Just because there is a genuine danger in randomly trusting strangers.
That is true too. And maybe there's always been a danger, but maybe we didn't always hear about it.
I mean, our population has just skyrocketed.
We've got lots of people, but we also have instant communication.
Yeah.
Everything that happens is instantly broadcast, you know, and so and we hear the bad so frequently that maybe it's not that we have so much more bad. Maybe we just hear it more.
As I was saying in the last episode, streaks of failure feel way worse than just streaks of goodness. You can feel the good in your heart, but that failure will just weigh you down like bands of steel around your arms. Another aspect of hospitality I didn't even consider was, I forget which amendment it was, but it says that you can't be forced to house soldiers.
Right.
What amendment was that?
It's one of the important ones.
Yeah. I mean, how often are you forced at like gunpoint to house a soldier?
You must house and feed these soldiers. But you can't do that.
No. It's really odd that had to be put into law.
So it must have happened.
It must have happened like significantly because this is on the Constitution.
Right. So, that, and we have the right to have bears' arms.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think exactly giving someone a gun is very hospital, but it depends on the person.
Oh, that means guns?
I mean,
I thought that meant like arms that used to be on a bear.
Oh, that's you're a genius, Mr.
I
Heath.
thought that's what it was.
That might be what it is.
If you didn't learn anything else today, you now know that the
right to bear arms
does not have anything to do with yogi.
Nope.
Or boo-boo.
Be hospitable.
Be hospitable, folks, and we will talk to you next week when you tune in for another edition of
Words Mean Things.
I'm Mr. Heath.
And I'm Steven.
Bye-bye.
See ya.